Kia ora fam. Welcome to another video. Today I will be talking like a bit of a sports recap roundup of the week. I ran out of time substantially fast this weekend, unfortunately, so pretty much everything is going to go into one video. Regardless, it is what it is, I suppose. First thing I want to talk about is the first test of the Ashes has rounded up 3 days early after Australia opened fire and absolutely ran through the English batting lineup, and then England returned fire just as quick, which meant day one was pretty much null and void, and it was essentially an ODI in the second day, and Australia came out on top off the back of Travis Head, who came out firing in the first innings, and was unfortunately caught out early, but came back in the second innings, got his test ton, and absolutely rattled England. Nothing they seemed to be doing was working, and he took advantage and showed them how to do it. Usman Khawaja, a bit of controversy there. He failed to take the field for the fielding portion of his game in the first innings, and it was cited due to back spasms, and therefore he was actually ineligible to open the batting for Australia. Ended up coming on midway point, give or take. But yeah, congratulations Australia, they've won the first test in 2 days. I think it's the fastest Ashes test match ever. I tried to look it up before, but no one was giving me some real answers, but I think off the top of my head, I think it is probably the fastest Ashes test match ever, in its current format anyway. Next thing we're going to talk about is the All Blacks game against Wales. The All Blacks ended their Northern tour with a pretty dominant victory over the All Blacks. I will say Tom Rogers, Dan Edwards, that left-hand side for Wales was very, very dangerous. I think all eyes were on players like Louis Rees-Zammit, and of course Blair Murray, the Kiwi-born. But they took over. Tom Rogers going in for a hat-trick. He got 3 tries, pretty convincingly as well. Dan Edwards was the main catalyst for those tries, and he did a fantastic job, I think. But in the end, the All Blacks showing out, and what a showing it was. Ruben Love performed very well, I think, going into 2026 and potentially into the World Cup. I think I'd like Ruben Love at fullback and Damian McKenzie at 10, especially Will Jordan on one wing, and Caleb Clark is preferably the other wing. I think Caleb Clark was very, very strong. I think he has solidified his name in the 11 jersey, and Rieko Ioane actually did very well, but will he still have that sort of fire inside of him come the World Cup? And I don't think so personally, but look, I really want him to prove me wrong, I guess. He's a fantastic player, always has been, always will be, but who knows. Lisa Whanganuku played very well off the bench. Sevu Reece even going over for 2 tries. The second one was something wicked. Kind of putting himself back in the mix, which is a very good problem for the All Blacks to have. The backline has always been a bit of a struggle to try and fit players in with injury and with suspension, so on and so forth. But Sevu really threw his name back in the hat for next year, and I think it'll be a nice scenario to put yourself in if you're Razor Robinson. I will say as well, whether you agree with it or not, Holly Davidson, the referee, did very, very well. I think with the pressure she was in, being the first woman to referee an All Blacks game on a massive stage, I mean, I think she did an incredible job. She can trust her gut instinct a wee bit more, but look, I don't blame her for going to the TMO in situations in which she did. A few unfortunate scenarios for the Welsh team, a few yellow cards, but that's the game, right? That's what we. That's unfortunately what it is now. A few disallowed tries for the All Blacks, but again, situations that we can't really allow ourselves to have that 50-50. I mentioned it I mentioned it on a Facebook post, I think, last week, revolving around the Cody Taylor yellow card. Can't really put ourselves in those 50-50 situations where we expect the call from the referee every time, in my opinion anyway, but who knows. Rugby league season is finished. International rugby has finished, well, at least the stuff that I pay attention to anyway, the All Blacks as such. So now we're just down to kind of NBA, NFL, and I'll try and do a few videos on that. I'll try and cover as much of it as I can. The games being predominantly during the week makes it a wee bit tougher, but I'm sure I can fit it into the time and make a few videos revolving around that. As for right now, the Formula 1 is on. Bear with me as I go and check what is going on. Last I looked, Lawson had dropped to last. Good chance he's probably out now. No, he's still last, but he's far behind. Albon's overtaken him a couple times already. Piastri has picked up the pace quite significantly. He'd been overtaken by Hadjar and Leclerc at one point, and now he's up just behind Nico Hülkenberg. Kimi Antonelli has picked up the pace a lot as well, by the looks. Last I looked, he was 13th on the grid, and that was maybe 25 minutes ago. That was lap 12, so it's just gone lap 31. So, okay, just under 20 laps, he's picked up from 13th to 4th as it is now. Norris looks like he's going to be getting some points the way he keeps running. Piastri's going to struggle, but who knows? My guess is Norris is going to win the Drivers' Championship. But in any case, look, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, turn that bell notification on as well. You get updated every time my videos go live. Leave a comment down below what you thought of the All Blacks Wales game. Even what you thought of anything else, really. But I messed up. I messed up here. I forgot to bring up the UFC, which took place at the ripe old time. The main card started at about 7 AM, which was no way, shape or form a time for me to get up. I was half tempted to do the all-nighter and watch the rugby, then the UFC, but there's no way. I fell asleep about 3:25 waiting for it. So, goodness, yeah, how did I forget about that? I had it uploaded on my screen too. I'm a goose. UFC. Oh yeah. Yep, here we go. What fights did I care about? Just the co-main and main, really. Ian Gary getting a win over Bilal Muhammad. I personally think Bilal Muhammad is a great fighter, but Ian Gary is just that much better. I think everyone gives him a bit of shit because he's of who he is as a person and just kind of his personality and attitude towards the whole game, but he's a great fighter. And does he compete with Islam for the title? Don't know, don't think so personally, but he has a jiu-jitsu background as well, currently based in Brazil, so yeah, good for him. Hopefully he gets a shot at the title some point, and hopefully he puts in a bit of an effort, but we shall see. And then, of course, the big one, sad news coming out today, Dan Hooker has lost to Arman Sarukian by submission in round 2. First round just was all domination from Arman. getting him pretty clean with what looked to be a hand, what looked to be a right hand that opened a hematoma above his eye, but there is some speculation that it might have been a headbutt that caused it. I didn't quite get to watch. I watched the whole fight actually. I woke up just in time, but I couldn't. They didn't really show a replay of the headbutt in question, but who knows. Sarukian is pretty much definitely next in line for a title fight after Islam versus Topuria, which is probably going to be announced sometime soon, I would imagine. If not, it'll be Gary, Islam, and then Sarukian, Topuria, because Sarukian is pushing for that fight big time, saying Topuria is ducking him and whatnot, but with Sarukian's past, don't know if we believe him. If that does happen, I think Islam probably beats Gary, and Topuria mauls, and I mean mauls Aman Sarukian. Topuria is that good. He's the best fighter in the UFC aside from Islam right now. So anyway, yeah, right. That is all for this video. There's actually all this time. I lied to you, so apologies for that. If you clicked off the video and didn't realise there was more after I said it last time, sorry very muchly. Thanks for the free view without watching that. In any case, yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. As I said, please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your afternoons and or days, whatever day you're watching this. Enjoy the rest of your week. BKSports on Instagram. Peace.